Hello and welcome back to my channel. This is Onika and I have another video for you. So this video here is all about calories. It's all about calories. So I'm pretty excited to give you a quick, simple, sweet overview of calories. I know that you hear calorie deficit all the time, especially if you're trying to lose weight. You need to be in the calorie deficit. You need to be calorie deficit. Oh, you're not losing weight. You need to be in the calorie deficit. You hear it all the time. I personally heard it all the time. And so I want to explain where that's coming from, why, and I think by the end of it, it is pretty simple, but I do want to give a little bit of background information. And obviously you don't need to remember this, but just something to keep in mind when you're going about your weight loss journey and making decisions. So this first quick part of the video, I'm going to talk about what makes up the energy that you are burning on a daily basis. And what that is called is total daily energy expenditure, or TDEE. So that is the amount of energy that you are expending on a daily basis. And that is based on 4 categories, which we're going to talk about today. And I'm just going to do a quick overview. I don't want to make it super complicated. I just want you to kind of have an idea of where your calories are coming from and why it's so important if you want to lose weight to be in a calorie deficit, but also eating enough, and also ways to raise your TDE so that you can eat more while still losing weight. So again, your total daily energy expenditure for the most part is made up of 4 different categories. The first one is BMR. And then and I will go into what those stand for, but there's BMR, there's NEAT, there's TEEF, and there's EAT. I know, fun little acronyms here. So let's get into the first one, which is BMR. And you'll also hear RMR, but BMR stands for Basal Metabolic Rate. If you see RMR, RMR stands for resting metabolic rate. So I'm going to say BMR. BMR is simply the energy that your body needs to function at rest. This is the energy that your body is needing for you to breathe, for your organs to function. So when you're just lying there doing nothing, your body is still burning energy. And so that is your BMR. So at the least, you should be eating enough calories for your BMR, because that's what your body needs. Your body needs to function. So you're expending this amount of energy, and obviously you need to bring it back in so that your body can function properly. So that is BMR, basal metabolic rate. So the next category, number 2, is NEAT, which is your non-exercise activity thermogenesis. That is NEAT. And that is pretty much the movement that you do, the energy that you're burning by doing simple movements like getting out of bed, brushing your teeth, going downstairs to your kitchen to make breakfast. Just the little movements that you're doing all day that aren't specifically planned. So that is NEAT, and that is another way you are burning energy throughout the day. So you have BMR, you have NEAT, and now you have TEEF, which is thermic effect of food. So while your body when you eat breakfast, lunch, or dinner, or a snack, and your body is digesting the food, that takes energy, and that is the thermic effect of food. One thing I like to add about this is about protein. You hear a lot about protein, how you should be eating your protein, and that is very true. The thing about protein is that it takes more energy to digest, so you're actually burning more energy when you eat protein. I don't think I mentioned, going back to BMR, is that is made up of several different factors, such as gender, your height, your weight, and to get an accurate rate, an accurate basal metabolic rate. From my understanding, you have to go and get tested to figure that out. That's why the calculators that you have out here, they are estimates. And you have to kind of play around with the numbers. I wouldn't say that they're way off, but I think it's a good place to start because they are estimates. So I just wanted to add that about BMR. So going back down, BMR, NEAT, and then TEEF, thermic effect of food, which again is the energy your body needs to just digest your food. And as I mentioned, protein takes a bit more to digest. Another thing that I think is interesting is that compared to fat and muscle burns more calories. And another reason why strength training, one reason about strength training, there's a lot of different and good benefits of eating protein in strength training, but just for this video, I'm just mentioning this reason. So another reason why strength training is so important is because you are building muscle, but muscles burn more energy than fat. And so that's why men have a higher BMR rate, you will find. That's why you will see that a lot of those like bodybuilders and just people who are very fit and muscular, who have more muscle than fat, they're able to eat more calories because they're burning more. They have more muscle versus someone who is bigger, they're not burning as much. Granted, your weight does play a factor in it, but that's just a comparison. Another reason why you want to lose weight and also be building your muscles. So that was 3, TEEF, thermic effect of food. And then the last one is EAT, which is exercise activity thermogenesis. And you can probably guess, but that is your planned exercise that you have throughout the day. So you plan to do 30 minutes of strength training, you are planning to do an hour run, whatever it is, that falls into EAT. That is what, specifically planned activity that you're doing maybe once or twice throughout the day. Whereas NEAT is, pretty unplanned. You're just kind of moving about the day. The last thing I do want to mention about these 4 categories, the last thing about these 4 calories and how they make up TDEE is how much of each category makes up TDEE, because I think that's very important. So BMR, your basal metabolic rate, again, that's the energy that's needed for your body to just function. That makes up about 60-70% of the energy that you are expending daily. So a good chunk of that is your BMR. And as I mentioned, your BMR, for the most part, you aren't changing. It does change as you age, as your weight fluctuates. Obviously, your height's not going to change. Another way to change it is your body composition and gaining more muscle. That will increase your BMR. But your BMR makes up a majority of your total daily expenditure. So another good reason to start strength training and gaining those muscles. The next highest thing that makes up your total daily energy expenditure is NEAT, which is the non-exercise movement. So that's just the movement you're, walking around. It's just not planned. You're just moving a bit more. So that makes up about maybe 15% of your total daily energy that you're expending. So not a whole lot, especially when your BMR makes up so much, but it is the second most. And that's why it's so important if you're out and about and you have the option to ride the elevator or take the stairs or the escalators or the stairs, take the stairs. That's just another way to burn more energy, okay? So that is 15%. Next is thermic effect of food, which is about 10%, somewhere around there. This is, these are estimates, but for the most part, giving you kind of an idea. But thermic effect of food or teeth makes up 10%. And then lastly, eat, which is the planned exercise, it only makes up 5%. And so I think that's why, it's important to remember that weight loss is 80% nutrition and 20% exercise. Like from your exercise, especially since it's maybe 30-minute or 40-minute or an hour out of your whole day, it's not burning a lot. Whereas meat, where you're moving around all day, or maybe you're not, is going to help you burn more energy. So why is all of that even important? Okay, why is that important? So let's actually get into it. So all of those 4 categories, well, technically we have gone into it, but all of those 4 categories make up, again, your total daily energy expenditure. And I know I'm repeating myself, but I just wanted to be clear, and hopefully you aren't too lost. But if you are, comment down below, message me on Instagram or Facebook, which I have my socials in the description box below. Feel free to message me, and we can talk through it some more. But those 4 categories make up your TDEE. So you have your TDEE after, figuring out your BMR and figuring how, estimating how much activity you do throughout the day. And that makes up your TDEE. That is the amount of calories that you are burning on a daily basis. So if you eat that same amount of calories, you're putting it back in, then you are going to maintain the weight that you have. Now, if you eat less than the energy that you are putting in, then that is referred to as a calorie deficit, and you are most likely going to lose weight. If you eat more than your TDEE, that is called a calorie surplus, but you're most likely going to gain weight if you are eating more energy than you are expending. Okay, if you are eating less than you're expending, then you'll lose weight. If you're eating the same, then you'll maintain your weight. That is why it's so important, and why kind of I talk about it, and why it's a tool that I use in my program, because I think it's just a clear kind of eye-opening way to see possibly why you're not losing weight, or why you're maintaining weight, and then we'll go through and talk about ways to lower your calories to get into a calorie deficit so you can start losing weight. So that was a lot of information. I did say quick, simple, and sweet, but I really wanted you to understand. And so I am going to next just give a quick example of how to calculate using the Harris and Benedict equation calculator, which I will link down below. If you want to calculate your calories and just have an idea, I will just do a quick example of how to calculate that. It's pretty self-explanatory. So, but yeah, I hope you enjoyed this first half of the video. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to comment down below, or send me a message on Instagram or Facebook. But okay, let's get to that example. Okay, so real quick, I'm just going to show you how to calculate your BMR and then take that to calculate your TDEE. So typically I go to Google and I just search Harris Benedict calculator. I also have this as a favorite on within my bookmarks. But if you want to find it, or just use another calculator and kind of experiment, that is totally fine. But go to Harris Benedict calculator, scroll down, and I typically go to this one where it says bmicalculator.net. And I hit Harris Benedict equation. So here's what pops up. I'm going to scroll down. And you see here it has the Harris Benedict formula, and pretty much it's based on activity level, and it takes your BMR times a particular amount, particular rate. So like sedentary is by 1.2, or if you're very active, which is like 6 to 7 days a week, it's 1.725. So it says here to determine your total daily calorie needs, multiply your BMR by the appropriate activity factor. So we don't know our BMR yet. So we're going to click on this blue link here that says BMR. Clicking on it. And I did this recently, so that's why the green is there and it's already showing the calories, but we're going to scroll down and change some things around. So let's do 5'5", and let's say you are 210, and let's keep it at 35 years old, and you're female. Formula is fine. So we're going to calculate BMR. And so for that female who is 35, she's 5'5" and 210 pounds, her BMR is 1,622. That's how much energy she is burning at rest. And so let's say that she really doesn't have a lot of exercise, or she's pretty sedentary. To maintain her weight, she would need to eat 1,946 calories, because that is saying that that is the total daily energy that she is expending each day. Because again, as I mentioned before, it's your BMR, it's your non-exercise activity, it's your thermic effective food. So even though she doesn't have any calories being burned because she's sedentary, she's not doing planned exercise, there's still other movements throughout the day, and obviously digestion that plays a factor into it. So that's why it's higher than the BMR. So obviously, let's go to moderately active, because I think for the most part, for those of us who work out on a consistent basis, I think a healthy range is 3 to 4, 4 to 5 maybe, to work out. And at that point, this particular person would be expending 2,500 about energy. And so if she ate that amount, 2,500, she would maintain her weight. If she ate below it, she would lose weight. And if she eats more than that, she would gain weight. So let's do another example, and then I will show you how to use the Harris-Benedict equation if you wanted to use a different formula based on your BMR, because this right now is the Oxford. These numbers here, the 1946, 2230, is based on the Oxford formula. So let's go back and do another example, or let's scroll down. So let's do 5'10", and let's say 180, and let's say 28, and let's change it to a male. So we're going to calculate BMR. And so BMR is 1928. So you can kind of see how it is higher because this person is a male. So men tend to have more muscle than women. This person is also younger. So that does play a part in BMI and BMR and how high or low it is. So let's take this 1928 BMR, and we're going to scroll down to where it says daily calorie needs. And that's going to take us back to that Harris-Benedict formula that we initially saw when I first started this recording. So let's go to daily calorie needs. And then you're going to scroll down where it says Harris-Benedict formula. And I kind of sort of forgot what it was. I think it was 1924 for his BMR. So let's say that, this guy, David, is lightly active. So he exercises maybe 1 to 3 times a week. And so we would take the BMR, the 1924, and multiply it by 1.375. So I'm doing that on a separate calculator or a separate screen here. So you can probably hear me typing. And so when I do that, I get 2,645. He is just lightly active throughout the day, and he does, a few workouts throughout the week. His TDEE based on the Harris-Benedict formula would be around 2,600 or 2,650 if we're rounding. And so that would mean to maintain his weight, that's how much he would need to eat. If he wanted to lose a bit of weight, he would need to eat less than the 2,650. If he ate more than that, then he would be gaining weight. So that's pretty much how you calculate it. Again, this is an estimate, so you have to play around with calories and play around with deficit. I think starting with a smaller deficit and seeing how that works is probably better, and gives you a chance to adjust and kind of see how your body reacts. So maybe subtracting about 250 from that. I know a lot of people subtract 500 based on the fact that 3,500 calories is 1 pound. And so you multiply that by 7, you get 500. And so if you, in a week or every day, eat less than 500, then bam, there's that pound that you expect to lose. Let's see. I think that is all I want to share. Obviously, you can go in and play around with this stuff, but yeah, I just wanted to show you how to use it and kind of how the BMR and TDEE that I mentioned earlier in the video plays a part in all of this. So I really hope you found this video helpful, and yeah, I will see you in the next one. Bye.